What are your daily tasks that have to be done?
Roger.
And what does that look like? Because it's a very different day than for most people.
Sure. So, I mean, really, it will change from day to day or week to week, whether in a deployed setting, whether at a training event, whether, whatever we're doing. But like, by and large, we get up, we have PT first in the morning, so like 05, 05:30 we'll be up, go to PT, so physical training around 6. I enjoy or have latitude to go and be a part of the combatives program at the Fight House group. So I'm usually there pretty much every morning.
It's rare to have a rabbi who's actually, getting after it and doing all those physical things.
So there are different schools of thought. There are going to be different chaplains out there, different service members out there that might have a different mindset, and those that I learned under and helped me out said, wherever you go, and I think it's a great life lesson when I speak to, the high schoolers, when I speak in different yeshivot and things like that, and say, a great thing to go after is, be that force multiplier. If there are a few things that you could do can, help the area around you, that's your job. I spoke to 7th grade at LEC, and I was telling them, looking around their classroom, and I was like, if you come into your classroom and you see something on the floor, pick it up.
Hey guys, welcome to the YM show. This episode was very different. We had on Rabbi Harari, who is a Special Forces Airborne Jumpmaster instructor, chaplain, rabbi, combatives instructor. I mean, he does it all. He flies across the country taking care of Jewish soldiers here in the U.S. and the U.S. Army, and also abroad, doing Shabbat meals, consulting, helping, running combatives training. He's a Jumpmaster, as I said before. He jumps out of planes. I mean, there's nothing he does not do. He grew up here in Surfside. We were able to get him for a quick 20 minutes today, and he had to leave after that. So I try to get in as many questions as I could. Hopefully we'll have him again in the future. Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Right before we hop into this episode is sponsored by Carry Consulting. Go to carryconsulting.info, check out the website. They offer consulting, training, they have merchandise, whatever you might need for firearms. If you want to get your permit in restricted states like New York or New Jersey, shoot them an email. They may be able to help you. And without further ado, let's hop into the episode. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's go. Hey guys, welcome to the YM show. Today we have the honor of having on Rabbi Harari.
Thank you.
Chaplain in the U.S. Army. Right before we get into this episode, I'm just going to give a quick background. I'm probably going to butcher this because we're on a short time notice. Had to come here. We have a quick 20-minute podcast this time, but we're going to try to get into everything we can get into. So you're just to clarify everything, you're a chaplain in the U.S. Army.
Roger.
You're a Special Forces Jumpmaster.
Roger.
You're a combatives instructor in the Army.
Roger.
And you're currently stationed in Kentucky?
Roger, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Wow. And I guess just to clear that, so I'm static line Jumpmaster, so I went through the Special Forces Jumpmaster course. I'm currently assigned as a chaplain to 5th Special Forces Group, to the Group Support Battalion. In regards to the military MACP, or Modern Army Combatives Program, so you have 3 different levels. So you have a level 1, level 2, and level 3. And as you move up in levels, you can certify the level below you. So I went through level 1 and level 2 at Fort Lewis in Washington State. And currently, so for my battalion, I'll instruct our level 1 classes and go through some SOCP stuff with them as well, which is Special Operations Combatives, Special Operations Combatives Program, yeah.
Very cool. So I just wanted, before we get into all that, all the cool stuff you do, your day-to-day, how your life is probably a lot different than most people. You can be stationed across the world, not just the U.S.
Roger.
Let's roll back to where you grew up, which is Surfside, here in Surfside, and how I'm curious how you found your way into the Army and eventually becoming a chaplain and actually becoming a Special Forces, and we'll get into also the whole Army thing, how you actually do what soldiers have to do. You're not just a chaplain, you actually get down and dirty and do everything.
Roger. So really simple. So grew up right here in Surfside, Florida, born and raised here initially. Went to Hebrew Academy, then for a few years went to Bay Harbor Elementary, then to Learman Day School, then back to Hebrew Academy. I went to Hebrew Academy and went through all of high school there. Around that time, my grandfather lived on Abbott. We lived on Froud. My grandfather, on my mother's side, was a lifer in the military, so he volunteered shortly after Pearl Harbor, retired in 1974. So first in the Army Air Corps, then it split, and there was the Army and the Air Force, and he went Army. My dad was drafted when he came from Egypt. 6 months being in the United States, he was drafted during the draft in Vietnam. and served in the Army as well. So as a kid, definitely got brainwashed by my grandfather that the greatest things you could do is serve God and country. Fast forwarding a whole lot, yeah, I get to do both right now. But the kind of line in the sand, I remember being a junior or 11th grade in Hebrew Academy, or 10th, 11th grade, and thinking about different options, whether going to university, whether joining the military, whether going to yeshiva. And I kind of, almost like Covey's plan of begin with the end in mind, I looked at the end state, like what would life be like if I joined the military right after high school? What would life be like if I went to some university and dormed out of state in a university? And what would life be like if I went to yeshiva and pursued that? And as I looked into it more and more, I was drawn into going to yeshiva, learning, connecting to who I am, having a lineage of, my father growing up in Egypt, his father growing up in Syria and Aleppo, and like having a history of like Talmidei Chachamim, like back in Syria and in Egypt, and wanting to connect to that as well. We have, Baruch Hashem, a very strong family in the Flatbush area, and it kind of was just coming back home where I felt going away to some university somewhere, or even joining the military right after high school would be bringing me away from who I am as a Jew.
And then I'm curious what like people probably asked you this in the past, like they were saying, being that you're an American Jew, like a lot of people, say, oh, Israel probably needs more help. They have a smaller army, and they go to the IDF and they serve in the IDF. So what were you contemplating going to the IDF, or was like, no, I want to, I'm an American citizen, I want to serve in the U.S. Army?
Roger. So there are two different areas of that. One, at the stage when I joined the military, my job in the military is a rabbi. I'm a rabbi to the army. Israel doesn't need any more rabbis over there. So like there's a huge void. So speaking to your listeners and people out there, there is a huge void in the military. There's not that many. I want to say around 10 or more active duty rabbis to the U.S. Army.
Oh, wow.
that are serving, that live on the installations, and there are far more Jews per capita in the military, in the Army, in the military, than there are in the U.S. So if we're less than 1% of the nation in the United States, Jews across the U.S.,
like 0.5%.
So if we're 0.5, we're like 1 or 1.5% of the U.S. military. So there's a far greater number in the military, and being able to serve those numbers and be there for them. So that's where I definitely see a difference and a need
And more of an impact you're making.
Roger. And as our briefings here as well, there's incredible interopportunity within the U.S. military that we help support, train with the IDF. Some really great relationships I've made over the years are with IDF soldiers from IDF Special Forces commands that came to train with us, that would join us for Shabbat, would eat by our home, and because we're the only coach.
That's in the U.S., or that's abroad, or wherever?
Well, wherever we are, if we have the opportunity to work, help them, but specifically at our home at Fort Campbell, that when we have IDF service members that come, we're helping to provide them with kosher meals, with Shabbat, and that fellowship, as it's called.
Uh-huh. Okay, very cool. People are probably curious, like, you're a chaplain in the U.S. Army, you're a rabbi, like, what's your day-to-day look like? Like, what time are you getting up? Like, what are your daily tasks that have to be done?
Roger.
And what does that look like? Because it's a very different day than for most people.
Sure. So, I mean, really, it will change from day to day or week to week, whether in a deployed setting, whether at a training event, whether, whatever we're doing. But, like, by and large, we get up, we have PT first in the morning, so like 05:30 we'll be up, go to PT, so physical training around 6. I enjoy or have latitude to go and be a part of the combatives program at the Fight House group. So I'm usually there pretty much every morning. Awesome. We do no gi, we do gi stuff, we do sock piece stuff.
So people listening, gi, no gi, that's regarding Jiu Jitsu.
So yeah, so there's a strong Jiu Jitsu program, and Jiu Jitsu is actually, we're not allowed to really say it because we're not endorsing one form of fighting over another or anything like that, but many principles in Jiu Jitsu are foundations of the modern Army combatives program, and that's actually where it was founded at a Gracie studio in California. The 2nd Ranger Battalion went out to improve the antiquated Army combatives program from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and in the 90s, they went out and were looking at things and saw Jiu Jitsu, saw what the Gracies do, saw that.
Is that Hito and Henry Gracie out of Torrance?
I don't remember which one, though. My senior instructor of combatives at Fort Lewis, he trained under the Gracies, and he was a kid. He was like 15 years old when he saw Ranger Bat come and learn about combatives, and he was so inspired by their integrity, by who they were, by what they were like, that he joined the military and made a career of it for 25 years in the U.S. Army, ending off as being the senior combatives instructor.
Oh, wow.
And that was Sergeant First Class Malakis.
Very cool. So that's a whole blend, right? So you guys probably have incorporate jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, other sorts of arts, right?
Yep. And it's specifically geared normally for you to be in kit. So with plate carriers and a helmet and things like that. So you're not as nimble and rolling around when you're in your boots and full uniform and kit all over you. That's one. So going back to our
PT,
schedule.
right?
So PT first in the morning, then get cleaned up. I daven. So either we don't have a minyan where we are, the nearest minyan. Yeah, there's no weekday minyan anywhere within the
probably once you drive
near
to Tennessee,
state, yeah.
Drive to Nashville.
I don't even know if they have a daily minyan. I know they have a Shabbat minyan, but anyways, so we'll daven, get to our office. There's a series of meetings and things and events that we'll be going through. One of the main things a chaplain does within the U.S. Army will be help counsel and train soldiers. So a soldier within my unit, anyone that's having a difficulty, a problem at home, at work, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they come to us and either seek advice, ideas, like we would ask our kids sometimes when they come to us with an issue, ask if they want empathy, advice, or intervention. Say, okay, which one do you want from me? So same idea with soldiers. They're either just coming to unload, or they want me to do something about it, or they like me to advise them on what I think they should do about it. And obviously we wear different hats.
You're like a therapist, you're a commander.
Yeah, so either, on their side, I could be speaking to them as a rabbi, I could be speaking to them as a chaplain, I could speak to them as a father, speak to them as a husband, speak to them as a soldier, depending on what they need and what they're looking for, that's what we give them. So that's a decent part of the day, as well as rotating through all our companies that are doing different training events, that might be doing a gunnery, or might be doing airborne operations, or might be doing just different trainings, and we'll fall into the trainings with them because in the U.S. Army anyways, you're a soldier first, and as a chaplain you're there with your soldiers, and your presence, just being there, is positive and helpful for them, where they could just walk over and connect with you because you're going through the same things that they are.
And then I'm just thinking, most people probably think, oh, you're just a chaplain or a rabbi in the Army. You're not actually necessarily involved in the day-to-day activities and all the training and the jumping out of the airplanes. And so if you want to, I'm curious, if you talk about how you actually are certified Jumpmaster as Special Forces Airborne, and how long that certification took, and how many jumps it took, and how that works, and also the combatives, and because it's rare to have a rabbi who's actually getting after it and doing all those physical things.
So there are different schools of thought. There are going to be different chaplains out there, different service members out there that might have a different mindset. And those that I learned under and helped me out said, wherever you go, and I think it's a great life lesson when I speak to the high schoolers, when I speak in different yeshivot and things like that, and say, a great thing to go after is, be that force multiplier. If there are a few things that you could do can, help the area around you, that's your job. I spoke to 7th grade at LEC, and I was telling them, looking around their classroom, and I was like, if you come into your classroom and you see something on the floor, pick it up. I know it might not be your job. Your job is not the janitor, but you see something wrong, fix it. That's one. Two, that ministry of presence, as it's called, the more opportunities that you have as a jump master, you're ensuring the safety of the service members that are about to exit the aircraft. Being an airborne paratrooper, right? You're going to be doing those things with them. When you first start, it's terrifying. Like, everyone flies in planes, but the idea of wanting to jump out of them going 130 knots, 1,250 feet in the air, when you're seeing the ground go by, it's low enough that you're looking down, you see the ground, you see trees, you see, little cars going by. It's a bit daunting, and being able to overcome those obstacles in your mind, the challenges that are placed before you, and you're doing it with those to your right and left. They see them like, all right, he's with us. Yeah. He's not just sitting behind his desk and, sipping his coffee, telling us about overcoming difficulties and challenges. One other thing that I don't think I mentioned.
You guys jump in the dark too, right?
We jump in the dark, we jump into the water, we jump out of helicopters, we jump out of aircraft, whatever the mission requires, we jump with equipment on us, like attached to us.
So what happens when you jump into the water? You land in the water, then how do you get to dry land? You swim, or you get picked up by a boat? Like, how does that work?
So depending on what the mission is, but the most recent jump that I did that was water jump, we have a dive team. And a dive team has a bunch of ribs, a bunch of Zodiac type boats. Not using Zodiac as the company or anything that we use, and not endorsing a company, but just explaining a rigid inflatable boat. They'll come buzzing by and pick us up after we hit the water, and pull in our chutes, drag us into the boat, and move us to wherever we need to go.
Like a light beacon or something they can see you?
So far I've never jumped in the water at night. I've only done day water jumps.
Nice.
At night I'm sure there would probably not necessarily be a beacon, but there could be like an IR chem light, that can be seen through nods or something like that. So I don't know if they want a whole bunch of blinking lights in the water for training of entering a hostile environment. But yeah, so being there, and there was once we were once in Romania we had a deployment there for 9 months. Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, that area with 116 infantry, with an infantry unit I was with, and there was once a soldier that was going through a difficulty. And he said, hey, sir, can I speak to you? And I was walking into a combatives class that I was teaching. And I was like, I can't speak to you right now. I was like, why don't you come roll with us? Join the class, and I'll speak when you're done. We'll chat when we're done. And we had a 2-hour rolling session. So instruction, going through the instruction, and then live rolling. And when we were done, I was like, hey, specialist so-and-so, do you wanted to talk? And he's like, everything's better. It's like, I don't know why, but it's better now. So I dug deep into that and did some research and start working on a white paper for our unit, actually, of the mental and emotional benefits of rolling. If someone's going through, it removes anxiety, depression, stress, different fear. And one doctor put it, it's really hard to have anxiety about the future when you have some like a 260-pound dude with his knee on your sternum.
Yeah, knee on belly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're really living in the moment there. So there's a lot of benefit in those things, especially in the environment where we're in, where not everyone wants to talk. No, not everyone wants to be vulnerable and talk about their problems, but they might be able to release it in other ways. I was sent by that same unit to the U.S. Air Force Academy, and I got trained up as an equine therapist, where we take soldiers to horses and go through their difficulties, challenges. So we do like horse counseling with them. And it's also been incredibly effective for post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, and so on.
So probably something like also they do physical exertion, they work hard, they sweat, and they have that friendship, the community. I'm a big advocate, obviously, of Jiu Jitsu, and it's interesting. I'm curious what you think misconceptions are. Quick, are we good for another 5-10 minutes?
Yes, probably another 5.
Another 5, perfect. So we get 2 more questions. So
Roger.
What do you think are misconceptions people have? Like, people think, like, a lot of people in the religious community, like training Muay Thai Jiu Jitsu, it's going to make you violent, it's this, it's that, it's lack of imuna. Like, how do you relate martial arts and how it can benefit even a religious Jew or anyone in general?
Roger, so that's so wide. I'll try to hit the wave top. So one, I think personally, I believe every Jew should be strong. Every Jew should be able to take care of themselves. Borei Olam watches after us all the time, but he also gave us the ability and skill to be strong. My father grew up in Egypt in a time when it wasn't so easy to be a Jew as he was, getting older, and you have those challenges. Be able to take care of yourself. Be responsible to help take care of those around you, whether that is through, a form of self-defense, whether it is through significant firearms training, whether it is whatever it is. Be able to take care of yourself, because the mantra of years gone by of Jews in the Holocaust or elsewhere going like, sheep to slaughter, that is long days bygone. We have a Jewish state, we have a Jewish army, we have proud Jews everywhere where they don't need to back down. That's one. In regards to two, for the parents out there worried, yes, I totally get that there is a culture and an influence, especially in certain gyms and Jiu Jitsu gyms. You need to find the one that's right for you and right for your family. You need to make sure, in regards to Shomer Nagia, like that, that it's, guys rolling with guys and what's there. End of the day, though, if someone is going off the derech and that's where they want to go, they're looking out. I don't believe Jiu-Jitsu is going to just push them over the edge. It's, if they're approaching it for the right reason, like anything else. There's a concept in Chassidut of klipat noga, that there's something that's holy, mitzvah, it's kedusha, it's holy. There's something that's tumah, which is pig, right? You can't take pig and uplift it. But there's something in the middle, klipat noga. The middle is like money. Is money good or bad? Well, if you use it for tzedakah, if you use it for mitzvot, if you use it for your kids' tuition, whatever, then you're using money for good. If you use money for la'aleinu, for something bad, for averot, then that money becomes bad. Jiu-Jitsu is klipat noga. It's not good. It's not holy per se. It's not bad. What are you doing with it? And it's also, it's kind of a slippery slope, where you have individuals might go down and think if they start doing this, they're so involved in their physicality, they'll forget their spirituality. So, being able to, teach their own, know yourself, be connected to Hashem, be connected to God, be connected to your values, and go there for the right reasons. And I don't know if that answers
No, it's very good. It was a general question, so I want to pack up as much as I could because we only have another 2 minutes.
Roger.
I want to finish it off with one last question. I'm probably sitting for another 2 hours. And
Roger. And maybe another time.
We'll see what other people want to hear. And other questions, people email in, and then for the next one. But last one I want to leave you with is, the first one, two questions, I guess, is what was the most impactful thing, like you being a rabbi in the U.S. Army, that someone has told you that you felt like you changed someone's life, or someone went up to you and said, hey, whatever, like someone's going through a hardship or whatever it might have been, where you felt like you actually made a difference and you were like, wow, this was worth it?
Wow, that's really tough. Right? Yeah, that's really tough because there's so many experiences, so many times, so many opportunities that we had to work with our service members, with our Jewish service members, and being that only rabbi, that maybe the only rabbi they've ever met in the military before, or a service member coming from our community or coming from, similar backgrounds, being able to be there for them, that they're not alone, and that we're there for them. They're just, there's so many.
Any story specific? Give one. I'm sure you have many, but one specific.
So the most recent, I was recently deployed in Syria and Iraq. During the high holiday, November, December time, and I mentioned this in Magen David in the shul.
Oh,
we were talking
about say this one.
That we got moved with getting rid of all the details, but we eventually made it to this base that was completely really austere location. If you're going to take a shower, it's like with those water bottles over there. The DFAC was blown up not long ago. Really, really out there in the middle of nowhere. And I met a Jewish service member one day, and I found him, and we got him some kosher food, and we put on tefillin with him. Service member from New Jersey, and and we spoke, and we just were talking about things, during the time of Yomim Noraim, and we got to have a real good, deep conversation. And then as the sun was going down, it was time for me to move on to another location where there are other Jewish service members. And he looked at me, he's like, wait a minute. He's like, you just came here for me? And I said, yeah, that's what we do. Like we come, we're here for you. Not the masses, not hundreds of people or thousands, but like if there's one person that needs you and you could be there for them, that makes all the difference in the world. There's a short story about a kid on a beach. You could relate, right? It's a kid on a beach. It wasn't a surfside beach, but there were like millions of starfish all over on a low tide, all over just baking in the sun. And this kid is throwing starfish furiously into the ocean. And an adult comes over and says, kid, what are you doing? There's starfish as far as the eye can see. He said, in the world, you're not going to make any difference. They're all going to die. And the kid picked up one and said, in the world, I might not make much of a difference. But he picked up one and threw it deep into the ocean. And he said, but to that one starfish, I made a world of a difference. So, to be able to reach that one service member that needs you. And like I said, there's hundreds of stories and times that I got to be blessed to be in the environment I'm in, where I could help someone. And huge props that I could only do this because my wife Mishi takes care of everything at home, takes care of the kids, takes care of everything. And she's a huge influencer, not only within, the installation within the family, but she does so much, and props, my thanks to her, so I can do what I'm able to do.
No, it's amazing. It's like, it's not easy. You're waiting for months at a time, I'm sure. And
Roger.
She's running the home. There's so many other things I want to unravel. I ended up one last question. I know we're tight on time.
Roger.
What's one thing you'd want to tell the viewers, the people listening, like one word of inspiration or one thing that you just want to share?
Roger. So as I mentioned as well, I'm wondering, I know you can cut and remove my ums and my whatever, make it a lot shorter. But I'm still, super solid. My cousin, Sammy, Shmuel Harari Aval Shalom from Flatbush, who was just recently, on around Simchat Torah, was killed in Lebanon, was a sergeant major in the Carmel unit in the IDF. And as I told you then, he told his soldiers that they should not, he told his soldiers in a pep talk before going into Gaza, before going into Lebanon, would tell them, don't be careful, don't be safe. He's like, that's the job of your wife and your kids, to be careful and safe. So you have to be audacious. You go out there and do what you need to do. Be the best soldiers you can be. Relating to that to our viewers that are not in the military, take that same marching order and be the best that you can be, in regards to connecting to your spiritual well-being and to your background and to your family. Don't sit back, don't do anything halfway, just go all the way, do the best that you can, especially the students out there. You'll never regret doing the best you can, whether it's at school, at a job, or for sure in the military. Do the best you can. You'll look back and you'll be happy with the time that you spent invested in your efforts towards improvement, being a better person, being a better battle buddy to the people you're right or left. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
Of course. And, thank you for your time. Hopefully next time we can do a longer one and we can get on the mats. We go to the range maybe.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Well,
Appreciate
thanks so much. And
course.
we'll see you.